Hey, it's Lauren with Bargain Bead Box, and today I am working on a 2-to-1 strand necklace using the Peach Sorbet August Bargain Bead Box. So I'm kind of wrapping up my August creations, trying to use up a lot of the things, and I came up with this design. I'm excited to try it. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to be using our marquee links, freshwater pearl links, my last 2 bail beads, a lobster claw clasp, crimp beads, the remainder of my Coreana chain, clamshell bead tips, and the only piece that I'm using that we've used in previous designs is this peach moonstone drop. Lynn put this on her bracelet that she made. It looks so lovely, but I had an idea to make with it, so I grabbed another one. So if you've been following along with my other designs, you should still, this is the only piece that we've used already. So we have some crystal bicone beads, shell beads, and the peach 8mm rounds. Now the only items that I am adding for today's creation are some basic bindings, some jump rings, ring 136 at the Bead Box Bargain Store, some eye pins. These are pin 555 at the Bead Box Bargain Store. And I'm going to be using a little bit of this textured gold chain, which is chain 622 at Bead Box Bargains. All right, I'm going to lay everything out and we'll get started. All right, so I've decided I think I'm going to use a couple of my leftover bead caps too. These are the gold-plated bead caps that came with the box, and we're just going to use 4 of them. But I'm going to go ahead and do the eye pin links first. So I'm going to start with the middle link of each segment. I'm going to be making 2 segments here, one for either side of our necklace. And I'm going to start by doing a bead cap on either side of an 8mm round. And I'm just going to do a really simple loop with this link. So I'm going to trim it down. And I had someone ask me, it's a little long, for like how you know how long to trim, like if there's a specific measurement. And my answer for that would be it kind of depends on the pliers that you're using, because you want it to be able to make a full loop, and also how close to the tip of the pliers you like to work, because you can see the diameter is different. So what I recommend is to get your favorite pair of pliers, get a bunch of inexpensive eye pins, and just practice. Just keep, and if you're the measuring kind, measure each time, keep track, or just eyeball it like I do. I'm going to make another one of these links. But you'll get the hang of it, and it really isn't super complicated. It's just something that's going to be based on individual preference, the size of the loop that you want to make, and again, the diameter of the round nose pliers that you are using. So I wish I could just be like, oh, do it 3/8 of an inch or something. But it's, well, let's see. What do? I actually brought a ruler with me today so I could tell you how long I cut mine. And it is going to be right about 1/4 of an inch, maybe slightly longer than that. So yeah, probably pretty close to 3/8 of an inch actually, but not quite there. But again, the distance that you're going to want may vary depending on your personal preferences, the pliers you use, and how big you want your loop to be. I am not going to pretend to be an expert on making loops. It's one of those things I've done a zillion times, and I do it because I have to, not because I love it. But it does produce such beautiful results. Alright, so on either side of my 8mm link here, I'm just going to open up, actually, I'm going to use my chain nose. Some people are aghast when I use chain nose pliers because technically it's not the perfect thing to do. If you have nylon jaw pliers and can use them, those will have less chance of marring finish. But it's a humid day here today. My joints don't love it, and the chain nose really are just easier on my wrist. So I'm just opening up this link and sliding one on either end of our peach 8mm link there on our peach course. So now we've got a shell link on either side. And now, after I finish this one, I'm just going to make 4 little bicone links and put them on either end of those shells. So we'll have a nice little sequence there, graduating in size, which makes me happy. All right, so just swinging those links up and down. You do not want to uncurl them. You just want to open and shut them. All right, now I get to make 4 little bicone links. Just sliding them on that eye pin. And one thing that I haven't been great about today, but I do try to pay attention to on some links more than others, is the direction that the loop is facing. I like to be consistent, either going at a 180-degree difference to the bottom loop or trying to make it as close to the bottom loop as possible. And this does help you have just a little bit of an easier, like you'll have fewer snarls in your chain when you're wearing it, I've found. It just lays more neatly. And this will be probably especially important when we make our links with the bail beads. At least in my experiments, that proved true. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick these on the end of those loops as I'm making them. So we got 3 more to do. But yeah, simple loops are one of those things that when I was a beginning jewelry designer were so intimidating to me. But I seriously just bought some cheap eye pins on clearance and practiced a ton, and it really is not as hard as it looks. So you want to grab the tip and roll it down to start like that. And then I like to come back here at the bottom, and I want to be careful because I don't want to crush my bicone. They're a little fragile at the drill hole sometimes. Just bend it back towards me so you get kind of that nice base of the hook. You can see that there. And now I'm going to grab it and roll it down. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want it to be closed as much as possible. So yeah, it's one of those skills that just improves with time and practice. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially starting out. It will get better. And some days I'm better at them than others. I don't know about you, but sometimes I have days where I'm just like, I can't cut an eye pin the right length to save my life. And they all come out a little longer or a little shorter than I want them to be. Let's see. Okay, and I'm trying to do these parallel to the lower loop. So I'm going to hold it that way, roll it away from me, go down to the bottom and bend it back. Oh, hear the little crack. I think yeah, my crystal's mostly fine. This is fine. But yeah, I was not careful enough there. Okay. And we've only got one left. So this is sort of a multimedia or at least multi-technique necklace. We'll be doing Coreana chain for the center. And then this beaded chain on the sides, as well as some regular chain. So 3 different kinds of chain in one necklace. Fun times. I like it. I like eclectic pieces. All right. Grab at the tip of that, roll it back. I maybe cut this one a little long. Look at that. But that's okay. I can kind of pull it open and just make it a wider loop as I go. And if it's not like perfect, it is all right. It's not so bad. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to take these 4 marquee links and I'm going to put them on either end of my beaded links. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers again because they really help me out. Alright, so just swing it open, stick that link in there, and swing it shut. These marquee links are fun. I really like the way that they echo the marquee shape of the moonstone pendant. And I really wanted to make something that used both those pieces, the links and the pendant. I also wanted to add that the moonstone pendants do vary a bit. If yours is a little more on the gray side than peach side, this design will still look pretty, or you can substitute a different bead in the middle if you want to match it more closely. Something like a labradorite could be pretty. If you get a really gray one or a creamy white one, you could just use more shell beads, maybe do like 3 of the 5mm shell beads or something. But it is easy to adapt the design if your pendant's a slightly different color. Okay, because the moonstone, peach moonstone does vary a lot, and not all of it is super peach. The one that I grabbed is fairly peach. Alright. And a lot of them will be fairly peach, but there are some outliers due to the natural stone. Okay, so there's our beaded section of the necklace. Now, I'm going to grab my veil beads, and we're going to make the links that attach our second strand. So to do that, I am going to take 4 crystal beads and my 2 bails, and I'm just going to do a crystal bead and then a bail and then a crystal bead. And I'm just going to make 2 links like that. And I am going to keep my loops parallel for these links because I found it just hangs a little more smoothly when I've used other bails to do this kind of thing in the past. So I'm going to try to get them kind of on the same plane there. Alright, now I'll make 1 more of those. And this is going to be our jumping off point for our second strand. So once we're done with these, we'll cut some Coreana chain and we'll make our 2 drapey center parts, which is very professional trade lingo. Alright, so I'm going to cut that tiny bit more. Okay. And again, I'm going to try to get this parallel with the bottom loop because Coreana chains kind of have a mind of their own sometimes. They like to tangle a little bit. I'm going to tame them as much as I possibly can and try to get them to hang and drape really neatly, or as neatly as possible. Alright, so now you've created your little 3 loop links. Now we're just going to stick those on the other side of one of your marquee links. And then all that's left to do here is, at least for the center part, is to close this loop, or I mean for the chain parts, close this loop, and now we are ready to start with the Coreana chain. Alright, I'm going to cut 2 pieces, and I know this is weird for me, but I am actually going to measure them. Gasp. Because I like to have about a 2-inch difference in when I'm doing a multi-strand front, just to make sure they drape well. I'm going to do 1 piece at about 5 inches and 1 at about 7 inches. So it doesn't have to be quite exact, but this is going to be my top strand, and this is going to be my longer drapey strand. It's about there. Alright. So we have a 5-inch strand and a 7-inch strand, and we've still got a little chain left over. Look at that. Okay. So I am going to grab one more bale bead. Which, let's see, here we go. Here it is. Here, which I have here. And now that I think about it, I think I used 2 of these in my other design too. So if you made my other designs, you may be 1 bale bead short. We do have other bales at beadboxbargains.com, or you can just attach the centerpiece with a jump ring if you want. So I'm essentially, all right, I'm just going to use, I think last time I put a spacer bead on the other side. You can absolutely just do the bicones. I'm going to use these Space 1569. The rest of the pack I've been using in my other designs just because I like the way that they look here. Alright, and then I'm going to need to get some crimp beads because we are going to use some crimp beads here. So this is my longer 7-inch strand, and I'm just doing the centerpiece where our pendant is going to sit. So I'm going to do on either side a bicone and a shell bead, a 5mm shell rounds, if I can get it to cooperate with me, and then another bicone. And this will be a little easier to work with once we get the center all crimped up so that it holds still and doesn't move around quite so much. And I'm going to do the same thing here on this side, bicone, a shell round, maybe if it will behave and stop waving around like a wild snake. There we go. And another bicone. Oh my goodness. There we are. Okay. Now I just need to do a crimp bead on the other side. I'm just going to dump out a bunch of crimp beads because we're gonna use them here. So crimp bead on either side, and then we're gonna find our middle and crimp. Okay, so I'm gonna hold the 2 ends up here and get this as centered in the middle as I can. That looks pretty good. Then we're going to crimp, and I'm going to use a crimping plier for a 2-step crimp. So we're going to start in the middle using that inner groove there, the one that looks like a little C, and then we're going to grab the edges of that C and squish them together using the little oval shape notch closer to the edge of the crimper. And that just gives it a really nice shape. Kind of folds it straight in half. Sometimes I like to then squish that half in the first part again, just to make sure that we've got a really good grip. Okay. And now I'm going to do the other crimp bead. And I'm going to try to hold it secure, but not too tight, so that there's a little bit of room for the cord to still, or the chain to still bend. Let's see. That looks pretty good. I may have left a little more space than I usually would, but it'll be all right. Okay. So there's your centerpiece. And we can attach, here, there's your center, and we'll attach the pendant in just a moment. Now, up the sides, I'm going to alternate. I'm going to try to fit, let's see, we'll do a bicone and then a shell bead and then another bicone. So, first of all, I'm just going to do 2 crimp beads, one at a time, of course. Crimp bead, and then a bicone, and then another crimp bead. Now we're going to try to put this about a third of the way up. I think that looks pretty good. You want to leave some gold chain showing, or at least I want to, because I think that's the whole fun of Coreana chain, is you get that metal in between your beads. And then we're going to crimp on either side. I don't think I did a great job of squishing that first one, so we'll go back and do that again. Or rather, folding it. Fold that together. Okay, fold the second one. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do a crimp bead, a shell round. Sorry, I'm working kind of towards the bottom here. It's my natural inclination for this fine detail work is to be at the bottom of the frame because it's closer to my eyes. But I'm going to try to work more towards the middle here so it's easier to follow. Alright, squish. I'm going to leave about the same distance and squish that crimp and then fold it. And now the top one. I'm also very pleased at the quality of the crimps that came with the box. They are squishing very nicely, they're not breaking. Really happy about that. Okay, and now I'm going to do one more bicone on this side. There's going to be a lot of crimp squishing with this necklace. So much. So many crimp beads. These crimp beads are so tiny, they're making these 4mm bicones look huge. But I like a small crimp on the Coreana because it just looks neater. Alright, and now we've just got to... Alright, go away, thank you. Grab this bottom crimp bead, figure out where we want it, I think about here. Give it a squish. Bend the squished crimp bead in half to make a neat little square. And then do the same thing at the top. Squish. And bend. I think I need to give that a little more squish. I think it got slightly uneven. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm just going to do the exact same thing all up the other side. I like Coreana chain. It's really fun. It is a lot of squishing crimp beads. But it is not too hard. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to try to space these about the same as the first one. So again, traveling down the screen, my bad. Okay, having issues. Here we go. And try to leave about the same amount of space here. And then form the crimp bead. Here we go. Let's squish that. Okay. Feels pretty stable. Maybe not my best fold, but it's fine. We're doing so many today, they can't all be my best, right? There we go. Okay, now another shell bead. This is such a delicate piece. I love it. I love delicate jewelry. And I think the 2-to-1 strand looks really classy. It's one of my favorite techniques in jewelry, just to set it apart a tiny bit. Alright, let's see here. Grab this crimp bead gently. Try to leave about the same amount of space I left over here. And then do the top one. Alright, and now we bend it. Looks beautiful. Alright, so all we have to do now is that one last bicone, and then we will put some clamshell bead tips on this piece and be done. So crimp bead, it'll go on. Wearing my wrist out today. Here we go. And a bicone and a crimp bead. And here we go. Just gotta grab that bottom crimp, get it to about where I want it. Think about like there. Give it a squish. Twist that squished bead around and close the halves. And there we go. Now we're ready to put our clamshell bead tips on. And this is a good point to just kind of measure and make sure that your ends line up nicely, because I feel like I've got one a teensy bit longer than the other. So I'm going to go ahead and just give that a little tiny snip. Just to even them out a little bit. That looks better. I do like how easy Coreana chain is to cut. Alright, so now I'm going to put a bead tip on. Slide it down as far as it'll go. And then I'm going to put this crimp bead just at the very tip. And this time I'm just going to use my chain nose pliers to squish it, because this one doesn't have to be pretty. I just want it to be really, really secure. Alright. Now I will fold the chain nose up and over and give it a quick close. And you can, if you want, do the thing I did at the end of my other strands, which is where you put a spacer bead and a crimp bead on and then slide them up and do them afterwards, but I'm not going to do that here just because I don't want it to be too bulky on the ends. It's such a delicate design. But it could look nice. I haven't actually tried it on this design. Okay, and again, just gonna crimp that crimp bead like right kind of at the end. There's a good crimp, make sure it's gonna stay. And then fold that clamshell up and over and give it a gentle squeeze. Keep it shut. You can, if you want, put glue in the middle of the clamshell to keep it closed, but since with this design they're going to be in closed loops anyway, I don't feel like it's really super duper necessary. Okay, so now we just need our pendant and some of those jump rings, which are over here. And we can go ahead and attach this to our little necklace piece. And we have completed the longer necklace chain. Alright, so for the shorter one then, just close this up real quick. There we go. For the shorter strand, I am just going to put crystal bicones on it. It's just going to be 5 crystal bicones if I can fit them. I think I can. So, crystal bicone at the center, crimp bead on either side. It's going to be a lot of crimping. This is just a more delicate strand. Here. I'm going to hold these edges even so I can try to get my crimp bead in the very center as much as possible. Here we go. Just going to crimp on this side. Push that closed. There we go. And now the other side. Okay. There we go. Looks nice. Pretty much in the center. Again, you can trim one or the other of the ends if you need to later. All right, let's do another bicone on this side. It's kind of a fiddly little part, but we'll get it done. Okay, so I gotta leave room for another, put it kind of like right here, I think. A little further down. Maybe. Lost my crimp, but that's okay. I'll put the other one on later. Just trying to visualize in my head how much space I need to leave. Think about like that's gonna be good. And then if my bicone falls off too, that's okay. The biggest thing here is I want to get my distances approximately right, at least. Oh, it looks nice. Okay. And again, you could definitely measure this if you wanted to. I'm just doing my best. All right. I think that worked well though. Another crimp bead and another bicone. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited. It's September. I love the fall. It's my favorite time of year. It's a little sad to say goodbye to summer. This was my kiddo's first summer, or last year was her first year of school, so it was the most summery feeling summer we've had for a long time, since it was a more, I guess, distinctive change from the spring, at least as far as schedule goes, you know, with her being off school, and went on a lot of fun adventures. And it's a little sad to get back to routine. Horse show break is over. She's back at school, and I miss her hanging out with me here. But also, I know it's kind of comforting to have routines back. All right. Other side now. It's just always change, you know. The leaves change, another season's gone. I love fall, I welcome fall. It always brings a little bit of like nostalgia and wistfulness, and I don't know. I'm the kind of person who likes a wistful rainy day. All right. We've been enjoying our local library a lot, getting lots of books out. I am the worst at remembering to renew my books at times, and I'm constantly paying $1 or $2 in late fees because I'll be like, oh, the library books, I didn't take them back, they're still in my car. But I have decided it sounds a lot better to say, you know, like, oh, yes, I frequently contribute to literacy-based programs in my local community. Sounds a lot better than, yeah, I always bring my books back late. You know, we love it. We love our library, and I don't mind supporting it financially every now and then, bits and pieces. It is definitely an incredible resource. And as Lynn is really picking up reading, I'm super excited to go with her. She's got her own library card now. We were checking out books, and she was like, Mama, I got this. I'll cover you. And so we put all the books on her card, which was really cute. And it's actually easier because then I only have to remember to log in with one card's worth of renewals. So maybe I'll do a little better about that. I just love how proud she is. Okay, time to finish that off. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to put a crimp bead on the end of the cord, or the chain rather. Going to squish it real well, give it a good squish, and then fold shut our clamshell bead tip. I'm going to line that up a little better. There we go. Perfect. Do that on this side too. And then we'll be ready to attach these strands to the beaded chain we made earlier. And we'll see how it all looks together. I think it's going to be pretty. Okay. Gonna just give that a little squeeze. Again, I need to line it up a little bit. Oops. That was a little rough there. Look at me messing up my bead tip with my chain nose pliers. It's fine. This looks fine. Okay. So now we're gonna come and we're gonna attach the long strand to the bottom of this loop link we made, and we'll need a jump ring there, and we'll attach the shorter strand to the other end, the loop on the end of this link. So I'm going to do that first. Let's go ahead and get our short link, our short chain attached on either side. I'm excited to see how this is going to look. Okay. I am going to try to lay the chain as straight as possible when I'm attaching it. I don't know if that will really help in the long run, but it certainly won't hurt anything. Okay, so now we've got this long chain to attach to the loops on our bails here. Here we go. Just gonna open up a jump ring and slide on the bead tip from the chain. It's a close fit, so I may need to do it a little more carefully. There we go. And now I'm going to slide on that loop on the bail bead, and we'll just attach it right there. Oh, that's going to be pretty. I think it's going to have a good drape, which makes me very excited. All right, so we're going to put this through, and now the bail loop. Okay. Make sure I get that jump ring nice and closed. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. It's going to look really pretty, I think, draped as a necklace. I'm excited to see it. Here, I'll show you. So pretty. And I do think that using the bail bead is going to help it keep from tangling as much as possible when you're wearing it. I think that's a useful construction tool. Okay, so now you just have to make the back of your necklace. And there's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could use the rest of your Coreana chain to make more Coreana links, or length, I mean, on either side. You can do a beaded chain, you can, like we've been doing here. I think I'm just going to attach some of this chain 622 because I like how the texture on it kind of pulls in those marquee pendants. I am, however, going to put another crystal link between them, and then I will close it with the lobster clasp from the box. So that's what I'm going to do. You can finish yours any way you want, of course, but I like a little bit of chain at the back of a necklace anyway, and frankly, it's easier. So when I'm making jewelry for myself, I do a lot of chain backed necklaces because it's a comfortable texture, first of all, for wearing, and that is something that matters to me. And also, it looks professional and it's quick. I am a fan. And go ahead and make these last two little simple loops. Again, I start by rolling it away from me, and then I pull it back at the bottom, and then I roll it down. Okay. I stick these on the other end of my marquee pendants here, or links rather. And then we'll use the other loop to attach the chain. And it just gives it a little bit of sparkle leading into the chain. And now I have to decide how long I want this necklace. And because it is double strand, I think I'm going to keep it a little shorter. So we are at, I'm going to, grab my ruler again. We are at about 15 inches of length, 14.5 inches of length already. So I'm not going to do much chain on either side. In fact, you could very easily just use your Coreana chain or a couple more links, but I'm just going to add just really a couple inches. This isn't going to be a super long necklace. I want to keep it somewhere around the 18, 19 inch mark. So I'm just going to cut two little links. Let's see, is this an open link? Let me look at it. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to actually have to cut it. That's nice. It feels less wasteful. Maybe. Just going to do a couple inches of this chain at the back on either side. I might just grab it here. Does it open? Feels like it should. Maybe it is soldered. Yeah, maybe. Ah, well, we'll cut it then. Soldered chain is slightly sturdier. And if it's not soldered, it is at least very, very sturdy. Alright. Let's gotta get it to cut. There we go. Hear that piece ricocheting. I'm gonna have to find that with the vacuum later. Okay. And I am simply going to put that on the other end of that link. It may actually be a little longer even than I need. Maybe I'll do it a little shorter on this side. That takes some firepower here. There we go. Oof. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this side of the chain. And then all that's really left is to add our clasp. And I'm just going to use the jump ring at the bottom of this clasp, and then I'll stick another jump ring on the other side. I like my clasp on the right, although I guess with this pendant it doesn't really matter. It's double-sided, which is nice. And then I will add a jump ring to the other end. Maybe. If it'll stop running away from me. There we go. All right. Close that up real well. And you can add like a little extender chain if you want, loop some jump rings together to make an extender chain. That necklace is finished. That's so pretty. You've got a nicely draped lower portion. Here, I'll pop up on the screen for you. You can see what it looks like actually draped on our mannequin. So it actually looks really nice. I like the way that the difference between the two strands Super cute. I like the beaded chain accents. Again, you can finish the back any way you want. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I created this necklace today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a Bargain Bead Box member, then you received the Peach Sorbet collection for $22.99 with free shipping in the US. If you're not a member, we do still have a few extras available at our sister store, beadboxbargains.com, for $29.99, also with free shipping in the US. If you would like to join and get our September box, you can do that until September 9th. If you join us after September 9th, your subscription will begin in October, which is also going to be fantastic. But I can't wait to work on some more September designs with you. I think I can probably get 1 or 2 more things out of this collection. There's so much this month. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out with us. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, and I'd love to see what you create at our Facebook group, the Bargain Bead Box Creative Corner. Thanks again, y'all, and happy beading.